A.D. Vance speaking in Philadelphia just a few moments ago as we took you live there, staying on message with the stolen valor, a real issue for Walt, despite the fact they will try to gloss over that here from the DNC floor inside the United Center in Chicago. That is exactly where we are today, bringing you live coverage throughout this week. Now, the DNC is expecting more than 50,000 people to be here. The city says security will be tight. Street closures around the convention center, which we did see a lot of police here as we enter the United Center. Of course, at one point, the Democrats were known for defunding the police, but now they need them to protect all the folks who are coming here. Also, there's a very big development when it comes to sitting President Joe Biden. Of course, he's on the speaker list tonight, but a bombshell report, 291 pages, House Republican investigators now accusing Biden of engaging in impeachable conduct. And it says 8 months of work. Pleased to bring in right now Florida Senator Rick Scott to discuss what this may mean moving forward. Senator Scott, a pleasure to have you today. And I know you're also live here with us in Chicago this week.
Yeah, I'm here to make sure that Donald Trump wins. You know, for my family, for your family, for every family in this country, this is an important election. We have a choice. Do we want capitalism? Do we want a free market? Or do we want socialism? Do we want the government telling us what we can buy, what we can wear, what we can say? In Florida, we've seen socialism. We watch what happened in Cuba. We watch what's happened in Venezuela. And we know it's bad for every family. And the only way you enforce all these rules that people like Harris want to put in place is by putting people in jail for not complying. So this idea of price controls. Yes. So not only will we have massively high prices, what we'll have now is we'll have shortages.
Let me ask you about this report released today by Oversight, Judiciary and Ways and Means, Senator Scott, because the removal of impeachment does require the vote of the Senate, and clearly there's not, that's not probably going to manifest. But tell us about the significance, the timing of this. The influence peddling has been something that has been around Joe Biden for months now, but there clearly is now more of a messaging coalescing with this report. What would you like to see happen as a result? And we know some on the leftist side of the media saying there's still no evidence and still sort of doing the bidding for Joe Biden, our sitting president.
Well, here's what we've watched. We watched when President Trump was president. He tried to hold people that want to take our jobs, like China. He tried to hold them accountable. But you look at Biden, and some of these decisions they made just don't make any sense unless there's some benefit to somebody. Like there's been no holding China accountable. In my state, we've never understood why he released sanctions on Cuba, why he released sanctions on Venezuela. So we've never, and we don't understand why he, in the Middle East, we don't understand why he reduced the sanctions on Iran. So you always wonder what was the purpose of these things, and was there some financial benefit to somebody? So I think it's important we always get to the bottom of these things. We ought to be transparent. So people know how decisions are being made in Washington.
As we have about a minute left, to your thoughts on Joe Biden's swan song tonight. Clearly, they try to always say Donald Trump's a threat to democracy. Here, in full effect, we will see how they have taken him off the top of the ticket and literally installed a woman who didn't get one single primary vote, 14 million people. But again, they're going to try and project, as you know, Senator Scott, just this very happy, warm moment for Joe Biden, but effectively booting him out the door as soon as they can tonight on night one.
3 takeaways. Number one, Joe Biden, it was a coup to get rid of Joe Biden. Number 2 is, why do they not want a border wall, but they want all the security up here in D.C., which is what they have. And number 3 is, they're showing that they're anti-Semitic, they're anti-Israel, they're anti-Hamas. But even with all that, the Democrats are not far enough for their party.
Yeah, that's true. And we watched those crowds outside, very mobilized, very well funded. Senator Rick Scott of Florida, a pleasure to have you today, sir. Thank you for joining us right here on Newsline.
All right. Have a good day. Bye-bye.